Dear children, welcome to the class of Maths. I hope you are good and well. My dear children, I have completed fraction portion of the second chapter. We have to head for the decimal section now. Dear children, you have studied that fraction is a part of whole. The same we have to continue for the decimal also. The difference between fraction and decimal is that a fraction can have any whole number except 0 as its denominator, whereas a decimal will have the denominator as 10, 100, 1000, 10,000, 1 lakh, etc. This is the difference between fraction and decimal. Decimal means out of 100, out of 10, out of 1000, what portion we are considering. Whereas a fraction is a part of the number which we have taken from any number. So this is the basic difference between fraction and decimal. So dear children, decimal definition can be given as, the decimal definitions can be given as a fraction with a denominator ten, 100, 1000, etc. Whereas a fraction can have any denominator. My dear children, when we will have a fraction with a denominator 10, 100 or 1000, we will come to know the decimal part of a number. See my dear children, if I write 2 by 3 by 10, so you will say, sir, it is a fraction, not a decimal. So dear children, it can be written as 0.3. You will ask, sir, what is 0.3? So my dear children, suppose we have a box having 10 equal parts. We have a box with 10 equal divisions. Dear children, if I take 3 parts from this, if we take 3 parts of this, we will say it is 3 out of 10. It is 3 out of 10. So this 3 is represented as 0.3. It is a kind of notation, representation of a number. It is 0.3. My dear children, 3 by 10 can be written as 0.3. Next, these 7 part. Can also be written as 7 by 10, that is 0.7. It is 0.3. Now my dear children, see, we have only one zero in the decimal followed by 1. Whenever we will have such condition, when we will have the denominator as 10 or 100, 1000, 10,000, etc., we will have that many number of digits right to the decimal in the numerator part or in the decimal part. For example, if I write 17 by 100, it means out of a box of 100 equal divisions, 17 parts we have considered. So that can be written as 0.17. You will say, sir, how? See my dear children, after 1 we have 2 zeros. So the decimal should also have 2 digits after it or right to it. If we have 329 divided by 1000 that can be written as 0.329. How? After 1 we have 3 zeros, so after decimal we should have 3 digits. So here is the supply of 3 digits. There are certain questions when we will have 2 by suppose 100. Now there is a question. What is the question? We have 2 zeros in the denominator, but numerator has only 1 digit. So where this will come? So my dear children, keep in mind when we study the decimal chapter, we will take most of the help by the digit 0. This you can write 0 to by 100. Can you write? Because 0 written to the left of a number has no significance. But here we have 2 zeros, so we need 2 digits. So 0.02 will be the equivalent decimal number of 2 by 100. Correct? Similarly, if you are having 3 by 1000, now the question is, we have 1 digit only. So we will write 003 upon 1000. Now you see, there are 3 zeros, there are 3 digits. That will be equal to 0.003. Why? Because after decimal, after 1 we have 3 zeros, so there should be 3 digits after decimal. This is the mean. Now my dear children, we have to study how to read it. So dear children, whenever you have a decimal number, you will not read the place value of the decimal number, only face value you will read after decimal. For example, if you have 15 point, this number you have, if you have this number, how will you read it? You will read 15.3. Dear children, how will you read it? You will read it 15.321. You will read 15.321. Instead of studying 15.321, you will read individual digit, that is their face value, not place value. Correct? So, this is the method of reading a decimal number. Also, if a decimal number has, suppose 23.30, so this can be written as 23.3. Also, if you have 23.3, you can write 23.30. I told you that 0 will be the best companion while we are studying decimal, but we have to be very careful to place the 0 in the number. For example, if you place 0 before decimal, it will be changing the result. But if you place 0 after decimal, means right to decimal, it will make no change in the number. Just like this, you can write 3000. That also correct. It will have no impact or no change on the result. Next thing, what we have to study. See, every decimal number has two parts. Every decimal number has two parts. Suppose 25.31. So this is called whole number part. What we call whole number part. And this after decimal, right to decimal, is called decimal part. What do we call it? Decimal part. So every decimal number is having two parts. Before decimal or left to decimal we have whole number part, whereas right to decimal we have decimal part. Correct? Now my dear children, let us study how many kinds of decimal are. So a decimal is also of two kinds, just like fraction. Like you have studied, fractions are of like and unlike. Similarly, you will have like and unlike decimals. Like and unlike decimals. So dear children, there is slight difference between the definition of like fraction and like decimal, unlike fraction and unlike decimals. See my dear children, like fractions means decimals. Like decimals means the decimal number or decimals having equal number of digits right to decimal point. And do you know which country has given the discovery, or which country has the credit to discover zero and decimal? So it is our great India. Now, decimal having equal number of digits right to the decimal point are known as like decimals. Now, what are unlike decimals? Unlike decimals are having unequal digits right to the decimal. I think not visible that side, no? To the decimal point. For example, 1.25, 3.90, 27.15, like that 0.09. All these are example of like fractions. Why? Because all are having two digits after their decimal. Or another set 0.003, 1.414 or 125.251. So these all are also decimal like decimals because they have equal number of digits right to the decimal point. Whereas 2.1, 9.45, 7.3102, all these are the examples of unequal decimals. So like decimals are having equal number of digits after decimal, whereas unlike decimals are having unequal number of digits after decimal. Correct? My dear children, one thing you have to keep in mind that there in fraction section we were changing we were writing the like fractions by finding the LCM of the denominators. Here, how we will find like fractions? So my dear children, if you are given 2 or 3 or more decimals and you have to write them in like fractions, nothing you have to do. You have to just include 0 right to the decimal point. For example, question is write 75, 2.31 and 3.1278 as like decimals. How will you write, my dear children? You will see which number is having maximum number of digits right to the decimal. So it is 3.172. So you will write 3.1278 and here 2.31 and here 75. So you can write here 00. Now both are having 4 digits. Here no digits, so you can write 1, 2, 3, 4. Now all are like decimals. Now one very important rule you should understand, that only like decimals can be added or subtracted. So if the two or more decimals are not like, you have to make them like by including 0. So this you always keep in mind, that only like decimals, just like fractions, only like decimals can be added or subtracted. I hope you are understanding it. Next thing, place value and face value of the digits. So this is very important part of this topic. So one example I will take, and with that example I shall explain to you all the place value concept of a decimal. I hope you are enjoying this class. If you feel bored, you can just message me through WhatsApp that you do not enjoy my class. I will bring some more methods. But my purpose is always to make a class that is not boring but enjoyable class, so that you can learn with fun. Now, my dear children, I take an example. 231.475. This is a decimal number. In that, I have to write all the place values of the digits. Dear children, here how will I write? See, this is decimal point. Correct? Here, I am writing here the decimal. And my dear children, left to the decimal and right to the decimal, we will have two methods to write. See here. This I will write later. Here you see. This 1 will be being at one position. So 1 at 1's position. This 3 is being at 10's position. So you will write 3 into 10. And this 2 is being at 100th position. 100th position. You will write 100. But its opposite will be there. What? 4 will be at 1/10th position, my dear children. And here I will write 1/10. Keep in mind. Here, this 4 will be at, 7 will be at 100th position. So I will write 1/100. And 5 will be at 1000th position. So 1/1000 I will write. What the words I will use here? Here this word is ones. Here tens. Here hundreds. Here tenths. Keep in mind. Tenths. Keep in mind this word. Here I will write 100th. And here I will write thousands. Correct? So, place value of 1 is 1, 10 is 10 means 30, and 2 is 200. Whereas 4 is 4/10, 7 is 7/100, 5 is 5/1000. So, in this class up to this much only. In the next class, I will tell you that every decimal can be written as its equivalent fraction, and every fraction can also be written as its decimal, but that is not a part of studies. Means part of studies, both I will tell you together. Then we will learn how to arrange, means comparing of the decimals, and then we will go for the exercise. Let us meet in the next video with a promise that you will reply me through WhatsApp and you will complete your work in your notebook. Take care. Thank you so much.